You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The microphone finally works. This is the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney. Listen, the Eagles offense couldn't get off the ground for 2 fucking months. This podcast took an hour and a half to get off the starting blocks, but here we are. We are coming out hot. We are pissed off. We are angry, and we are here. My name is Matt McSweeney. I am joined by Ty Capone, who has been listening to a car alarm for 7 hours in his apartment down in Florida.
It's crazy. The Eagles might not be the worst of our stressors in the last couple hours, which is crazy because I didn't think that was a sentence I would speak or type. But yeah, this car alarm, your laptop, the speaker, the everything is bearing down on us at a rapid speed, and I blame one person, Nick Sirianni. So let's talk about it. What are we doing? Are we firing him? Let's get started.
100%. Let's get into the game. Let's just talk briefly about the game. There's really not much to discuss. It played out exactly like every single game that had happened over the last 2 months since the bye week had happened. They were competitive for a little bit, and somewhat in that first half. They kept the game close. They couldn't get the offense, never got going. And that's what it seemed like was the case in every single one of these games. The offense just never got going, never got out of the starting blocks, similar to this podcast today. It just couldn't move the ball. But guess what? The alarm is back, and we move the ball, though. Okay, that's the thing. We move the ball. The coaching was horrible again in this game. We couldn't tackle. It looked like a lifeless team that did not want to be there. They didn't seem like a team that was ready to play in the playoffs or was excited to be, involved in the playoffs or anything like that. I mean, Baker Mayfield had all day in that pocket again. And honestly, they had more sacks in this game, it felt like, than they've had in the last couple months. Really, I mean, excuse me, I don't know if the numbers would back that up, but it felt like, there was a couple situations where the defense stood up for a little bit. There's only so much they could do. I think for 3 quarters they were pretty good, and then they kind of just collapsed after. Jalen Hurts takes one of the worst safeties. It seems like he really, in these big games, has one crucial mistake that is like backbreaking for us. That they couldn't get the tush push on that on when the guy goes offsides in the extra point. Conversion. Then they go for the 2-point. They can't get it because Vita Vea is just a fucking refrigerator on the line, and it's just hard to get by that man. And then, we have that. We run that horrific Kenny Gainwell play where he runs backwards and takes like a 7-yard loss. And then the next play, Jalen's trying to make a play in the end zone and just takes a horrible sack. Well, I guess intentional grounding in the end zone where he just throws it away. But come on, who didn't know what was happening there? And that that was
threw
pretty
it away
much
right before. Yeah, no, that wasn't.
9-point game. It was over.
The first drive of the game, a 5-minute, 12-play, 65-yard drive, where we held them to a field goal. I felt like the game was over right there. We go 5 and out, getting like 20 yards. Then they score again. Then we go 3 and out. Then they score again. Then we score. Right, that drive was pretty good. The touchdown drive, where we actually scored a touchdown, was perfect. 5 yards, 75, 5 plays, 75 yards, 2.5 minutes. Like that's what we used to do, right? Julio Jones got a couple yards. What else? Then, DeAndre Swift, Devontae Smith. We finally hit a deep shot. Devontae Smith, 55 yards, and then the Dallas Goedert touchdown. That was a beautiful play. A little play action, play fake, boom, right there. So, like that drive looked like a semblance of a drive. Once that drive happened, I was like, all right, maybe we can, get a stop or hold them to a field goal and then score twice or something. Like, we're not going to stop scoring at 9. And we did.
No.
We did. That's all. After that, I think it was the end of the half. And then we had back-to-back punts. So many punts and then the safety, turnover on downs twice. And then, just I mean, what more can you say? Just absolute pathetic.
Really, like
performance
I would
all
like to
around.
act like usually when we have a playoff game or a big game, you go through and you break it down. But really, why should we sit here and waste our time breaking down a game that played out like a bad episode of a fucking sitcom that just is the same episode every single week? You tune in, you're like, oh, okay. The Eagles can't score again. They can't move the ball. Oh, the Eagles can't tackle anyone. Their defense looks horrible. Guys are catching balls with 30 yards in between them on every single play. Why are we really all that shocked by this or worried? It was like a time and time again. It just kept happening over and over again. They blitzed again. Anyone who watches
every single time
knew that's all you have to do against this team is blitz. I know. I don't know if it's Jalen Hurts who doesn't know how to check out of play calls, or if I honestly think it's more coaching because the coaches have not prepared him for the blitz to come or have not helped him out with drawing up certain plays. I mean, there's like the screenshots of the different plays when they were bringing blitzes, and what he's looking at is insane. These guys are running the exact same route on the right side of the field, standing next to each other. Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert are standing next to each other, 30 yards down the field, and he just got to throw up like a jump ball and hope somebody knocks it down. Not even to make a play down the field, just hope that ball doesn't get intercepted. Like it was, he didn't turn the ball over this game, right? Other than he didn't fumble. He didn't throw any picks, right? That I can remember on the spot.
No. So
other than the safety, that was the worst play of the game.
Yeah, and honestly, the game's probably over before
that.
It
didn't matter. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. They weren't scoring. The defense was going to fall apart at some point.
Yeah. So same thing we've seen all year again. Random guys just getting chunk plays. Rachaad White was getting pretty much 6-7 yards every rush. Devin Tompkins gets one rush for 10 yards. Trey Palmer gets one rush for 9 yards. See what I mean? This happens every single play. Random guys. Kate Otten was open every single snap. Trey Palmer, David Moore, every single snap. David Moore is 28 years old. David Moore is 28 years old and has not played in the NFL in 2 seasons. In 2021, when he played for the Broncos, he had 2 targets all year, no catches. So he has not caught a pass since 2020 with the Seattle Seahawks. I remember when he was on the Seahawks. He was like a wide receiver 3. He was decent. I think he's from like East Central, Oklahoma State, Tech, A&M. He torched us. I mean, he only had 2 catches, 66 yards, and the touchdown, and then Trey Palmer had that 56-yard touchdown. It seems like anytime he tweets that he woke up pissed off, he scores a touchdown. Which
I saw that.
Kind of crazy. LSU, Nebraska legend, by the way. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I mean, Mike Evans dropped the touchdown.
Mike Evans played one of his worst games I've ever seen, and that was keeping us in the game. Him dropping touchdowns.
It didn't matter. No. Chris Godwin, I didn't see until the second half. Payne Durham had an 18-yard reception. Not sure who that is. Chase Edmonds, resurrected from the dead, had an 8-yard catch. Like, they were just getting first downs, and they were getting chunk plays. They were getting 5-yard plays. They were getting 8-yard plays. They weren't having any negative plays. Like, we weren't getting in the backfield early at all. Eventually, we started to play well. I mean, BG and Nolan Smith, shout out to them. They're the only guys who showed the fuck up, really, on defense. I guess Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams, I saw them do at least something.
Still dropping Reddick in coverage.
Love it.
Great.
Love it. We had 17 pressures. Fletch had 6 of them. Sweat only had 2. Milton Williams had 3. BG and Nolan Smith had 1, but they each had a sack. We had 5 sacks.
That's what I'm saying. That feels like a big number for what we were.
Absolutely.
The going rate.
But here's something I'll show you that people won't talk about. They always talk about how we had the best O-line in the league. The Bucs had 31 pressures last night, 4 sacks, hit the quarterback twice, 25 hurries. Kalijah Kancey was an absolute force in the middle. Jason Kelce had probably one of his worst games ever. Not the best way to go out, but it's not this guy's fault. He's done literally quite everything he could have done since we drafted him in 2012, 2013 or something like that. So he was everywhere. Devin White had a good game. Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, they were getting pressures. Joe Tryon Shoyinka had 4. Yaya Diaby in the pass rush was seemingly everywhere in the first half. Levante David had a couple of pressures. Like, we were just getting blitzed, man. Quite literally and just metaphorically. Like, we couldn't stop them at all. I don't know what these coaches are doing, because we're getting blitzed and you're having your guys take forever to, run their routes. You're having these long developing plays and they're setting the house. They're playing, cover zero or whatever it's called, zero high, no safeties. Like, they're not respecting us whatsoever.
No.
So a massive change needs to happen. There's definitely needs to be a shakeup on the roster. I saw people saying, what can we get for AJ Brown? I'm not sure if that's the move, but I guess we can get a first round pick for him. Why not? I guess. I don't know. I'm not attached to
what are you going to do with that though? That's like,
not, right.
I would trade him if I viewed him, like, if he really was truly the cancer that we thought he was at the end of the year. Then,
but I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. I think there's much bigger issues than him.
Yeah, I think the O-line is going to need some help. I think we need to get some kind of semblance of a third receiver. We don't even have that, or a second tight end. Like, having it, like drafting taking somebody like a Tucker Kraft, like the Packers did when they already invested in Musgrave. Great move. They have 45 receivers, all their young receivers, Dobbs, Wicks, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. Like, they have a bunch of young options. We need to get somebody else, like a backup tight end, a swing tight end receiver, somebody in like the mid rounds. But a lot of it's going to come on the defensive side. I mean, I don't even know where to start on the defensive side. The linebackers are bad, but they're being like, you got to remember, you brought Zach Cunningham in like September, and he's like, I mean, he had a good game, but he also had a bad game. Like, he missed a bunch of tackles. I mean, the team itself.
Nick Morrow was running behind guys the whole game.
Nick Morrow, again, he was a special teamer for the Bears, and he played pretty well all in all this year.
But did you see Shaq Leonard out there? I didn't see him once. I mean, I know he was out there, but they didn't notice him whatsoever.
He did not play one snap.
Really? Okay, well, there you go.
He did not play one snap. No, he did not play at all.
Goes to show you. And he's the one, he's got the balls to be like, yeah, I have a lot to decide. You have to decide whether you should retire or go play on someone's practice squad or not, buddy. It's over.
Yeah, it's just like, Kevin Byard, since we traded for him, I haven't noticed him at all. So that didn't work. I thought Keely Ringo and Nolan Smith were the only young players to show flashes. Keely Ringo finally got into the game after the first quarter when Bradbury got benched, but he was still playing after the second quarter. Bradbury was.
Dude, honestly, it's not even really for me with Bradbury. As much as I think he's cooked and it's his ability, he did not want to be out there. That's what it seemed like.
Darius Slay didn't want to be out there.
No.
You could tell by his moving around, he didn't want to be out there. I don't think Kevin Byard wanted to be out there. Jalen Carter got absolutely stonewalled. He missed a couple tackles. I don't think anybody wanted to be out there besides Brandon Graham and Nolan Smith. Lead by example rookie and the lead by example vet, which is, both of them have to come back next year in a high role. I guess Nolan Smith and BG, they should kind of be, lumped together off that edge. Like, BG's going to play less. Nolan Smith's got to play more. But, and they're very similar, it seems like, in some ways.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring Fletch back, but if it's cheap, why not? I don't even know where you go. What do you even do at linebacker? Because I don't know if I'd bring any of these guys back. Maybe you bring back one just to be a warm body. And then you have to look at the DBs. I mean, who do you bring back there besides Blankenship?
And he wouldn't even be number one on my. I mean, he's just like a depth guy. It seems like. I mean, you obviously he showed that you need him, but we need serious help in the linebacker in the linebacker core, and just they need to actually, for once, take serious consideration in that. That needs to be a focus for the offseason. I don't know if you go out, you sign a Devin White or something like that, just to kind of give you an outside line. Like, you need to dedicate some sort of resources to it, because getting guys off the scrap heap is obviously not working. And I think you're going to need to go out and either get some extra defensive line help, some extra help off the edge, because those guys that you have weren't doing it. Maybe I would trade Josh Sweat. I would try to get out from underneath that. Or if it's really just the defensive scheme, then we need to bring someone in here that's going to get the most out of these guys. We're going to talk about all that in a second. I did just want to put this game to rest first. It's a horrible way. So it sounds like Jason Kelce's going to retire. That's what the thought process is. I mean, it's the day after the game. He told people that night that he was going to retire. I'm not sure that he's actually going to retire. I think he probably is done. I felt like if they hadn't gone to the Super Bowl last year, that he was going to walk away anyway. But he felt like they were close enough, and he maybe one more year they come back and make it happen. I don't think he really.
It's official though, no.
No, well, he said that basically to the reporter, like, I never announced my retirement, like, do your job. But the reporter went out and said, like, it was, I think McLean was like, he talked to all these different people who said that he said it to people like before the game or after the game or something like that. So I think honestly though, like what I'm saying is basically like I wouldn't doubt that he's just being emotional right now, and maybe he changes his mind in June or July or something like that. But I mean, I think he's probably done. It seems like the perfect time to just be done, because why would you want to put yourself through this, especially if they're going to bring back Sirianni again, which I don't think they will. But
please no.
No, I mean, which we're going to talk about. But I would like quickly just to talk about. I mean, really, they are going to miss him, man. The Jason Kelce, not only for his cultural, impact and importance that he has for the city and what he means to everyone in the fan base. I mean, you want to talk about a jersey from an offensive lineman that you see more Kelce jerseys than you probably see anyone else. Like it's pretty remarkable the impact, the lasting impact that guy's going to have here. It's just that was one of the worst parts about last night. That guy's crying walking off the field. It meant more to him than probably anyone on the team, and it's close. Just like that's it. Like that's the way he goes out. They get fucking dog walked by the Buccaneers again. Just like a couple years ago. Sirianni takes them to the playoffs. They get destroyed by Tom Brady's Buccaneers, and then now the Todd Bowles' Buccaneers, and led by Baker Mayfield, do the exact same thing to them. It's sad, but that's it. Like that's the end of the road, probably for Fletcher too, and that doesn't make me as sad. But I mean, I would be, the thing is, those guys want to be paid like they're still superstars. That's the big problem, and I don't think we can afford to bring back guys at that rate who are going to be playing 60% of the snaps or 50% of the snaps. It is just a sad way for this Eagles era to go down, for it to be this sad, for them to be 10-1, for them to be on top of the world, and for them to just completely collapse, man. This is as long as we've been alive, Ty, this is easily the worst thing that's happened to the Eagles.
Yeah, and you talk about all the stuff off the field in the locker room. What about on the field? Like, we were supposed to draft Cam Jurgens to be the replacement. He has not played well pretty much since he's been here. I know it's been a small sample size, but he's mixed around at guard. Hasn't really played center as much, but I haven't liked what I've seen from him at guard. I mean, the tandem of him and Kelce last night got smoked. So Lane Johnson's 1 year older. That's going to be an issue.
At least he's going to come back.
We have no swing tackles. We have no young O-lineman in the system at all. I mean, we hardly have any veteran O-lineman. Yeah, Tyler Steen, in the little action he faced, he gave up like 10 pressures.
Yeah,
just to be outdone by the fellow the Cowboys had that we absolutely smoked. So yeah, we have 19 free agents pending. I want to know how many you would bring back. So it's Kelce, Cox, Graham.
I'd bring them back if they really wanted
all
to.
All three?
I'd rather, if I had to rank them, Kelce, Graham, then Cox. But
yeah, I think Graham's back no matter what. I think he knows he's not an idiot. He knows he's not going to get big money anywhere else. Nobody, the interest in him probably isn't going to be that high. Even though all year he's been among PFF's highest graded players on our team. Just obviously less snaps than usual. He's getting older and whatnot. But you never have to worry about his effort level.
Ever.
Fletch, I don't feel the same. But anyway, if Fletch wanted to come back, why not? Mariota, Swift, Boston Scott.
I would let all of them walk.
I kind of agree.
Swift, in a perfect world, if he was going to come back, I no problem with him, but he's going to want to get paid. I'm not paying him.
Probably, yeah, probably at least a little bit, or a multi-year deal. But I'm good with that. Zach Cunningham, Justin Evans, who I think season ended before it even started.
Yeah.
Shaq Leonard.
No.
Sua Opeta.
So I would bring back Zach Cunningham. I would let the other guys walk.
Too. Rashad Penny, I think you would bring him back, right? Yeah, no. That didn't work.
Yeah,
Olamide, that guy didn't even see the field all year. Olamide Zacchaeus, Nicholas Morrow, Albert O.
I mean, I don't even know what Zacchaeus could really bring us because he didn't play.
Yeah.
And those other guys can bounce
that one touchdown. Braden Mann, Jack Driscoll, Sean Bradley, Quez Watkins, Jack Stoll. All of them. See ya.
Yeah.
So of the 19 free agents, I'd bring back like 6.
Yeah.
All right. So that should open up a little bit. We should have not a lot of money, but we should have money. Maybe we can trade Sweat. Maybe what's Byard's deal? I guess is he even?
I think they can cut him without having a penalty. Which
there you go.
I would do.
Yeah, he didn't play. He didn't do shit when he was here, and honestly, he didn't do shit for Tennessee at the end of his tenure there. So, but I think honestly, a lot of this comes down to what do we do on the defensive side of the staff, right? We
why don't we
defensive coordinators at week 14.
Why don't we just go into it like from attack it from this angle, and then if we think that Sirianni's going to stay, then we talk about the defense because I think it all starts with the head coach. Because if the head coach isn't here, then we don't have to worry about it. Like there's going to be a whole new philosophy. There's going to be a whole new scheme and everything brought in here. I will ask you, Ty, just to start this off. Do you think the Eagles should bring back Nick Sirianni next season?
No, I don't think so. I think the way he ended the season, dude, the fact that players on the team don't know. Like we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We're like, I don't even know if anybody knows who calls plays. Players on the team don't even know who calls plays most of the time, if it's Sirianni or Johnson. That's an issue. That's such an issue that you can't just get rid of the OC. Like, especially when you have the head coach saying, "Oh yeah, this is my offense. This is me. This is me." If that's you, you got to go.
Yeah,
you have to go. The inability to fix protections, the inability to have route concepts be anything seemingly befitting a top 25 offense, let alone whatever.
Anything
is just the inability of the offense to get moving. If that's him, he's got to go. And it's funny because everyone is obviously going to blame Brian Johnson, but I don't think Brian Johnson's calling these plays. I mean, I guess we'll never know. Truly, that is Nick Sirianni. I think maybe he's just covering up for his guy, right? Maybe. Again, we will never know. But the fact that players were quoted in an article saying they don't know, that's such a red flag. Ending the season the way you did, losing to the teams you lost to in the fashion that you lost them. Yeah, I think he's got to go. I know it's kind of unprecedented, and there's a lot of people saying, no, there's no way they do that. They'd be idiots. I'm like, would we? I mean, who's lining up to hire Nick Sirianni ahead of Mike Vrabel, maybe Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, Mike McDaniel, McDonald, Dave Canales, who did a great job against us last night. Like, is Nick Sirianni going to be a hot commodity on the coaching?
No, he'll be working for ESPN.
Really? Yeah, he'll be an OC somewhere. Which, hey, if you want him to be calling your plays, have fun. So it's not like we're getting rid of Andy Reid at the time we got rid of Andy Reid. And even then, he had multiple seasons in a row. It was just time to both parties to start fresh.
Yeah,
Nick Sirianni is not a great coach. He's not even a good coach. To be honest, I don't know what he does. So I have no problem cutting ties with him now. Will they do that? I don't know. I have like conflicting thoughts. I think they might just cut ties with some of the coaches, right? Like definitely get rid of Brian Johnson. They're like, okay, now that's the issue, right? They're going to scapegoat somebody. They trade AJ Brown or somebody gets scapegoated or moved in the way that Sirianni can now bring in somebody else. But I'm not sure.
I think that would be a bad move just because I think that would, like, not that I really care, but it would, if I was Jalen Hurts, that would piss me off if I knew that Sirianni was the one that was actually, the downfall of our team, and you scapegoat my guy, the offensive coordinator, as the reason for, why things went left, which I think, I hear people tell me, it's Sirianni's offense. Brian Johnson's calling the plays, but he doesn't get to pick his own plays. He's given the plays that he's supposed to pick from. Even if that's the case, he's still horrible because he picks some of the worst plays to run, ever, in the worst opportune times and just everything. Like 2nd and 8 last night, blitz is coming and they run like a like a flat route out to Kenny Gainwell, like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and like there's 3 Buccaneers with no blocking ahead there to tackle. The plays, you didn't see any QB draws last night. Like really any, right? I don't think he ran any. So I like, why? Why? Because we were running them all season long. Why did we stop running them? I like, there was the offense had no creativity, no ingenuity, no anything. And at the end of the day, Ty, we talked about this for a month, man. If Nick Sirianni is the offensive coach and the offense is bad and horrible, and week after week he does nothing to fix it, why is he still here? Why are you going to look me in my eyes and tell me that something's going to change next year? If he really needs a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, if those are the people who are going to carry the team every year, he should not be here. He should not be here. It's you. What are you doing then? We're just having other people come in, and you're just standing on the sideline, averaging thousands of claps. You did nothing. You let this team fall apart, man. You were gifted a Ferrari, and you just forgot to change the fucking oil. And like, it's unconscionable what he let happen to this team. Now, this team wasn't the most perfect team in the world. The Howie Roseman made plenty of mistakes along the way. You know, he neglected certain position areas and whatnot, but all in all, Ty, for the most part, this team was almost the same roster that went to the Super Bowl last year. At the very least, they should have won this division. They were going to be gift-wrapped this division, and I think really what's going to get him fired is that he couldn't beat the Cardinals. He couldn't beat the Seahawks. He couldn't beat those teams that he really was supposed to beat down the stretch that actually wound up costing them this season. For at least this early end of a season. Because, I mean, even if we had gotten that 2 seed and the Packers came to town, the exact same thing probably would have happened to us.
Yeah. I like to touch on something with Howie Roseman. I think he also, I don't think he's I think he should be getting a little blame as well.
For sure.
He's putting this roster together. I think this year's draft or 2022 draft is really going to haunt him for a while. Trading up for Jordan Davis, taking him over all-pro Kyle Hamilton. Didn't like it at the time. Obviously don't like it now. Jordan Davis is just not. He just stinks. He's just not good.
Yeah.
Like he gets erased from plays on single teams, not just double teams. And I acknowledge that double teams, he gets doubled a lot, but he gets erased, moved backwards. Doesn't look like he's in shape. Also, he took Cam Jurgens at 51, right before George Pickens, Trey McBride, a couple other decent players.
God we didn't take George Pickens. That guy's a psychopath.
Yeah. He is a psychopath, but I mean, good, having him be in this offense would be fun. Taking Nakobe Dean, that hasn't worked. You had guys, Terrell Bernard won a couple picks later, but how he doesn't like taking linebackers. Terrell Bernard's now starting for the Bills. I think he got hurt, but he played all year. Who else? Kyron Johnson, 181. That doesn't matter. It's a 5th round pick, but 6th round pick, I should say. So 2021 though, also not a great. I mean, Devontae Smith, I love him, but taking him over Micah Parsons, yeah, not great. And then obviously the Rager over Jefferson. I mean, we've left a lot of talent on the board draft wise. So he's gonna have to knock it out of the park this year. I'm already looking at mocks. I'm already waist deep in mocks. It's already mock season for your boy. So and I know Howie has this he's always known for not taking a corner in the first round or not drafting a linebacker in the first round. Well, it's time to break those habits, buddy, because we need cornerbacks very badly and we need linebackers desperately. So
we need a lot, man.
I have a lot of issues with the D-line, but I think there is still some talent there. And, at least you have some younger players at those positions that have showed flashes of Jomo, Carter, Marlon T, slightly, Milton. And you have Reddick still in his prime. Sweat should be in his prime. But the linebackers and DBs, they're getting older. They're not. There's nobody really there. So, I think we need first-round pick, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Mark me down for that.
So if we both agree, right, excuse me, that Sirianni should be gone, who would be your top 3? Like, I guess not only, all right, for one, we both agree he should be gone. Now the question is, do you think the Eagles will move on from him?
I'm 50-50. I'm very split. I think there's going to be I think there's going to be some push from the fans to keep him. But I think there's going to be a heavy push to get rid of him. I mean, you saw the one loser, Eagles fan, dump a thing of popcorn at him. Yeah. Meanwhile, he brings a helmet to the football game. Like, yeah, you're a loser, buddy. But fans do not like him right now. I mean, his shtick was working when we were winning. It's not winning it's working anymore. So I guess it depends. How hard of a push will it be to fire him from the fan base and the players, really. I mean, Howie Roseman knows these guys more than we do and knows what's going on in that locker room better than we do. So it'll be very telling. I think if he gets fired, I think it'll be very telling of how those players felt. If you don't see players going to bat for him on social media, besides like Kelce and Graham and, a couple other guys, we'll see. But I think they might. I think the way that season ended, coming off of a Super Bowl run and not even getting close to it, I think Howie's going to take a deep look at that and see how piss poor the team was. I mean, we got doubled up in yards for like the last 5 games, it seems like. So I think there's a real chance that he does it. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I think there's also a good chance that, some players and coaches get shuffled around and we give Sirianni one more chance. But
I wouldn't watch them. I mean that. Like, I would watch them just to do this podcast, but like for like my own, for emotional, and like I would be like all excited. I would not. Like, you would not be able to convince me that the Eagles would be able to do anything, because nothing would change. Who could they hire as the offensive coordinator or whatever that would fix the ultimate problem, which is the fact that our head coach just doesn't do anything? He showed in this last 2 months that he has no impact on what happens at all.
So
it's that
who would
simple.
be your guy? Who would be your top 3 choices to go after if it became a thing? Let's say it happened today.
If I had my say, it would be Jim Harbaugh, number 1. That would be the most ideal kind of guy that you could have, I think, for us. He's a coach who has experience with a quarterback with a similar skill set, and when he coached Colin Kaepernick, he had them in the playoffs year after year after year.
Yep.
I think he would probably get the most out of Jalen Hurts, and I also think that this offense would be more balanced and go back to a rushing sort of mentality, or just hard-nosed, gritty mentality, which we have not had. We didn't have this year. Last year we were gritty. We ran the ball at people's throats, and there wasn't a goddamn thing they could do about it. This year, it felt like we moved to a finesse team. We ran the ball 2 times in a row to start this game last night, Ty, and then proceeded to throw 11 of the next 12 plays.
No balance.
There's no balance whatsoever. So if we can get a coach that can come in here and just reestablish our offensive identity, then that, to me, is number 1. Number 2, I know this. This is the more like realistic thing that I think this is Eagles. The Eagles' way of life. Ben Johnson.
That's what I want.
Yeah, like that. That seems like an Eagles head coach, a guy who's not going to come in and demand too much personnel say, who's just going to come in, help, coach the team, be a part of the brain trust, I guess I should say, with Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, Ben Johnson as sort of a 3-headed snake there, for lack of a better word, snakes, all of them snakes. That would be it. And then 3, as corny as it is, or as unrealistic as it may be, I still would love Bill Belichick. I just as a guy who's going to come in here and make sure our defense is in the top 10 for, without a doubt. I think whoever they sign, they need to bring in a defensive coordinator who's going to just be able to take over the entire defense and is going to have complete autonomy over what happens. That would be my 3.
Yeah, I think I would go Ben Johnson number 1. I think he is. I just love what Detroit's offense is doing, and that's what Jared Goff, who can turn into a pumpkin randomly sometimes and get very turnover friendly. So I think while maybe Jalen's not that much better, I think he's definitely a better quarterback to have run your offense. And I would love Harbaugh. I think any of the OCs are kind of interesting. Mike McDonald, Bobby Slowick. Slowick comes from that Shanahan coaching tree. Also, have you ever seen that graphic of the Washington then Redskins coaching staff from like 10 years ago? So Kyle Shanahan's the OC, Sean McVay's on tight ends, Mike McDaniel at receiver coach, Bobby Slowick is a defensive assistant, Matt LaFleur's a QB coach. Like that's just a stacked ass coaching staff. Also, did you see Jay Gruden and RG3 going at it on Twitter last night? Jay Gruden was off of something. He was off of Molly or something, but that was good. That was good comedy during
RG3 blames everybody but himself for his play down the stretch of his career. Like I'm with him because Jake Gruden was a fucking moron, but he has the I've never heard a man make more excuses than RG3 does.
Yeah, maybe McNabb, but
well,
and then I don't know. Yeah, one of Dave Canales, Mike McDonald, Bobby Slow. I don't know. Maybe I'm not on the Bill Belichick board train, like a lot of people are, but I can't say I'd be mad if he was hired over Nick Sirianni. I mean, let's compare the two of his resume in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you there.
Yeah, I'm with you on some of those offensive guys, but I just worry. This team seems like it's bigger than just X's and O's too. That is a problem, but I also think that there's a culture problem here, where the way they collapsed and the way they just kind of mailed it in towards the end of the season, that was even a possibility. I think that needs to be rectified, whether that means trading this guy or that guy, or bringing in a coach who's going to just establish the culture. I would be cool with Vrabel too. I'm not in love with that. That's kind of just another guy who's just a CEO coach, who just kind of oversees stuff. I'm not really in love with that, but
yeah,
I just think that I would be with the Ben Johnsons, the Bobby Slowigs, that guy, those guys, that would be the McDonald's, those kind of guys. I'm in for, because I think the offense, if you're going to pay $250 million for your quarterback and he's going to look like that, we need to get somebody in here who's going to change that situation and make them better. I will say, and I want to repeat this again, I will not watch. You are, I think, out there, you people listening, are fucking morons if you believe the Eagles will be anything different next year if they keep Nick Sirianni. I don't care what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of the same players here again. And what I really, truly, the Eagles all year this year were really not that good. They showed you that. I mean, they're point.
How many times did we say it?
Yeah. We were just
after big wins, when we beat the Bills, you were like, I don't know, bro, we got fucking lucky. We got lucky this game and still got blown out.
Yeah. Literally, game after game, that Chiefs game, MVS catches that pass. We're having a different conversation after that game.
Tell me about it.
The Cowboy game, the one we won. Dak steps out of bounds on the 2-point conversion. We're having a different we're having a different conversation at the end of that game. So you could go game after game after game. I mean, we were fighting tooth and nail to beat the Commanders at certain points
twice.
This year. Yeah, we had to fight for our life to beat the Giants late in the season. I'm even talking about some of those early games were just rough.
Yeah, and the Dolphins win was the best clean win I think we even had, and that was, looking back on that, I don't even know how that happened. How they didn't even get to manage. I guess because their offense and
they were frauds.
Yes. Also,
that's what it came down to.
The fraud game.
Yeah,
the fraud game.
And we were all excited, which it was a good win, but I knew at the end of the day, it's just a good matchup for us because they are soft. And if a team is softer than us, then we can look like the greatest team on turf. But yeah, they were just frauds. That's what it came down to. We kind of wanted to not believe it, but they were. And Nick Sirianni did nothing to fix this. He did nothing to change the direction of the season. I do think that Howie Roseman had a big part in this, when I think it was not Nick Sirianni's decision to remove Sean Desai, not completely. I think, it made him look dumb when he said, early in the week, no, we're not going to make a change, and then 2 days later he makes a change. That didn't make any sense at all, but...
Yeah, Patricia should go. Desai should go.
All of them should go. Everyone on the defense should pretty much go.
But then, who do you bring in a D coordinator? I don't even know. Yeah, someone, I guess, right?
Anyway.
Do what Alabama did. Make a random move that's, amazing. Taking Kane Molnack from being a head coach at South Alabama and then making him their DC. What a great move for Bama. But something like that where we just, Howie says, fuck this. Let's target the best defensive minds in college and the pros. No matter how available or unavailable they are, let's go after the fucking top ones. That's what that has to be what your move is. What would you think about this? This guy currently doesn't have a job. This is on the offensive side. Tommy Rees, Eagles OC.
No,
what do you think?
Nope. Nah, I know. I saw him. He did lose his job. That's hilarious. I wonder where he's going to end up. He'll probably be an offensive assistant somewhere in the SEC that'll,
LSU.
Yeah, do they need one? I mean,
pretty
wild that Caleb DeBoer ended up,
it.
Going to Alabama. It's a good move for Alabama. We never talked about Saban walking away. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't expect
that. That and Belichick not being retained in New England, that happened in back-to-back was wild.
Yeah.
Like, two of the GOATs who also coached together. So
if you think about,
fuck Nick Saban.
Yeah, I have no love for him either. Guy's broken my heart.
He should have done that at LSU and not Alabama, so he can go fuck himself.
So I think, the Raiders are going to wind up keeping Antonio Pierce. If I were them, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Especially if Max Crosby says, I want out if you don't keep him. So
yeah, well, I would be all over. I would trade them whatever they wanted for Max Crosby, to be honest. Agreed. The Titans, who knows? Who cares, really? I'm sure if I were them, I'd bring in some sort of offensive guy. They've gone defense. They went defense last time. Switch it up. Other than that, the Chargers are going to wind up probably getting Jim Harbaugh, if I had to guess. That if he wants to go there, and they, I don't think they can really do much better than him. I think him or Belichick are the two options for them. But other than that, I think if we were to fire our coach, we would be in there as one of the top guys. Belichick was interviewing with the Falcons yesterday. That's the other teams that we're competing with. So if we,
Panthers.
I'll tell you a kind of a wild card sort of pick would be if the Steelers let go of Tomlin. I would get Tomlin in here in a second, man. That would be. You want to talk about culture? We would have a whole new culture here if that was the
Sounds like that's not happening. TJ Watt said, I'm not playing for anybody unless it's him. So guys are, planting their flag for their guys. Maybe there's sneaky names that we don't know about. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we bring Marcus Freeman in the BRDC.
God, no. Geez, don't stop bringing up these Notre Dame guys that are going to get me triggered.
Brian Kelly.
Yeah,
Eagles
literally, that might be a guy that but he's not going to get paid more than he does down at LSU.
Also, rumors are he wants to go back to Michigan. Even though I don't know if I buy that, but whatever.
Why would he? Maybe he can't cut it down in LSU. I knew he wasn't going to be built for that. That's he's going to be.
But he's building a lot. He just made a bunch of great hires on the defensive side. He has a super class forming in 2025ve.
Yeah,
he's
same situation going on here, dude.
No.
Yeah.
You were not getting top recruits at Notre Dame.
Nope. Yep. He was going to the playoffs and stuff like that, and he said, "You know what?
That's a little different.
I'll go to LSU. I'll go to LSU and lose to Saban every year." That's what he said.
Yeah, well, he beat Saban last year. All right.
Yeah, in a meaningless game. It meant nothing.
Nope. We got to the SEC championship.
Whatever. Congratulations, guys. Let's get back to the Eagles, though. At the end of the day, I'm happy that we're not going to have to watch these guys and talk about them anymore. That is
I'm good.
The good thing about them. But I guess we'll just have to keep talking. Next week, we'll probably start doing some draft stuff. We'll talk about it. By then, we'll know. You probably will have to hop in for an emergency episode if they were to actually fire Nick Sirianni. I hope that would be a thing in the near future. But
I think me and you we're going to hit the lab. We're going to hit the film room hard and just start scouting all these guys. Every corner, every linebacker, every defensive player, even some receivers. I'm scouting all of them, and I want the Eagles to hop. They better listen to who I want to draft this year because they never do. That's an issue.
Yeah, well, it's their franchises. That's what the heartbreaking thing was last night. They're at a crossroads now. It's the end of the old era. It's at the end of the Super Bowls. It's they have to push into a new era, a new regime, and you can't. I just don't think you can. I really don't believe in Nick Sirianni anymore. So if I don't, from the outside, I don't see why those players should believe in him because they were the ones that are out there. If you really believed in Nick Sirianni, you would have gone out there and played better. You would have said, "Hey, coach, this isn't working. We got to do this, or that." If they were all just robots sitting there doing whatever this man said, then no, that was never going to work. It's just I don't know, and I will be truthful. I don't think Jalen Hurts deserves to be absolved of all blame because it seems like a lot of that's happening too.
It's funny. I feel like I'm reading a lot of Jalen Hurts slander. I feel like I'm seeing him get, when you're the quarterback and when you have a big contract like that, the expectations are going to be very high, as they should be. But I mean, I don't want to say he's the least of our worries, but like on the list, he's down towards the bottom.
He's down.
In my opinion.
I agree.
Playing injured pretty much all year. Now the problem with him is I think he gets, like you said, he has a moment in big games, just every game. He has at least one or two just huge fuck ups. Huge, like a fumble that just shouldn't happen.
Monumental fuck ups.
Yes. But looking around, there's games where Josh Allen just forgets that he's good. So, I don't want to give the guy, I don't want to like let him off the hook completely, but I also, I just want to place the right amount of blame to everybody else. Cause I mean, like you said, like from Howie all the way down to the punter, who's, by the way, I can't believe they haven't had a good punter in like 3 years.
Yeah.
And whatever. Anyway, I mean, the grounding was really bad. He should have got rid of it much quicker. But I'm watching Dan O right here on NFL Live absolutely just eviscerate our offensive concepts and our offensive scheme. Just literally making jokes about how vanilla and elementary it is. I mean, we're running these 3-yard outs every play. Do you remember the 4th and 12 where we threw it 6 yards?
Yeah.
Sure. Why is Jalen Hurts throwing short of the 4th down sticks? Yeah, I don't know why he is either, but why are we running plays that are short of the sticks? Why are guys route tree 5-yard outs on 4th and 12? Like what? Makes no sense whatsoever. It makes you, if most Eagles fans who are, pretty dumb, if most Eagles fans can diagnose better than the coaches, what does that tell you? Like, what does that tell you? It tells you that Sirianni needs to go. So we'll see. I mean, if they're going to act, they better act fast because guys are going to be, Bill Belichick's already got meeting with Arthur Blank on his absolute mammoth-sized yacht. So, we're going to have to hurry up and make a decision quickly.
Yeah, I hope they do. I really hope they do. I think they'll get back to Philly today. They'll maybe talk today or tomorrow, and that should be it. Like I think Jeff Lurie, he probably made his decision. We talked about it last week. It was, if they go out and win and they look different, then you keep them no matter what. I think you just give them another year. You still fire those guys, the OC and the DC, because they let you down towards the end of the year. But they were able to find a way to win, and I think that means something. That does mean something. But if you were to go out and lose. And especially the way they lost. I think that's important. I know people were like, well, you should have known by now. And, I think they did know. But you have to see it happen first for you to make that decision. When you see that man get their team just week after week getting embarrassed, and you're supposed to, and they're spending a lot of money, and they were just in the Super Bowl last year. Ty, he's got to do it. Like, he's probably sitting there like, I have to fire him.
It's definitely a tough decision.
I don't think it is, but I understand why.
I don't either.
Why
I don't either, but yeah,
because I see a lot of people that I like my friends, people in the who are Eagles guys who are saying no, he deserves another year. I don't understand that thinking. Just from what I saw, they're putting too much blame on the coordinators, and it's at a point where I'm like, well, if we're gonna blame the coordinators for everything, what does Nick do? What is his job? Because last night all he did was punt on 4th and 2s, and kind of was another reason that we lost us the game because he was scared. He was playing scared the whole time. He knew his team wasn't that good. So, I don't know.
The other thing I would say, maybe it scares other candidates saying, man, I only have a couple of years to right this ship, or maybe they'll get rid of me too. Maybe that's a thing that some people around the league would think if we got rid of Sirianni, quote unquote, early, which again, I mean, you don't think it's early, but maybe that's something that you have to consider. I don't know.
And I would look that guy in the eye and say, just watch the film. Just watch the film. You're smarter than I am. Watch the film, and you tell me if that guy is worthy of keeping.
So the amount of times a team put a man in motion this year, I want to give a quick little shout out. Miami Dolphins, 68%, and you're probably like, that's a little high. The Rams at second are second at 44, Niners third, Packers fourth, Lions fifth, Ravens sixth. Notice that these are all elite offenses. Yeah. Yes, thank you. We are 32nd at 10.9.
Yep.
There's a bigger gap between us and the Browns at 31 than there is the Browns and the Broncos at 24. Actually, that's a little bad math, but anyway, close enough. We have a pretty wide gap. Last place So we don't put anybody in motion ever, which makes sense. I mean, this is such an easy, predictable offense. I mean, look, Todd Bowles was probably not even trying after that game last night, where he was like, we're going to call that play again because it's going to work. And I don't even need to put on my coaching hat. I already know how these guys operate. So Wink Martindale said the same thing. So yeah,
and the annoying thing is Nick Bosa was right. He knew, like he was like, we basically uncovered the way to beat them, which is just blitz the fucking dog shit out of them, and they will just, and Jalen will look at it and he'll fold like that. That's the way. They didn't, and over the weeks they never developed a plan where like, all right, well like a quick get the ball out of your hand in like a second, that was never an option for our team. It was always like snap, wait, run, leave the pocket, throw it away. Snap, wait, run, leave the pocket, throw it away. It was rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
62% of the Bucs passing yards came after the catch. 82% of the rushing yards came after contact. So, yeah.
So many problems, man.
Where do we get started? Yeah. Where do we start? But all I know is I'm going to be hitting that film room. We don't have that many picks. We don't have a fourth. We have the Saints second. We have a couple. I think we have like 4 fifths. So, and they love trading picks and trading back and getting future picks and moving moving around in the draft.
Where in the first round will we be?
We're 22.
Fuck. So
I think the second round picks are 55 and 60.
That's not bad. They could use that to move up if they wanted to.
Or they could take some guys that are fucking good and quality players and not Davion Taylor and Cam Jurgens and all these other guys.
I almost want them to trade because I don't trust
but that's
Howie Roseman to pick people that late in the draft.
That's the way to do it. I mean, listen, if Keely Ringo, he's looking like a pretty good pick. Maybe if Nakobe Dean stays healthy, that's a solid pick. And then you have Jordan Davis. Like, you have these young guys that are on cheap deals and you don't, have a decision to make on their future quite yet. You still have a couple of years. That gives you so much flexibility. When you nail one entire draft, that gives you so much flexibility in what you can do and adding pieces kind of around them and, helping them mold and improve. You don't have to rely on these young players. But the fact that when you hit on these picks, I mean, look at the Ravens. In 2022, they drafted Hamilton and Linderbaum in the first round. Absolute nailed both of them. They had a bunch of other picks. I think Charlie Kohler, Isaiah Likely taking him 139th. The fact that he can kind of just step in for Mark Andrews and play really well. Jalen Armour-Davis, David Ojabo. Back to 2021, they took Odafe Owe and Rashad Bateman in the first. Ben Cleveland. These are all players that play and make an impact. Zay Flowers, they got him at 22nd overall last year. So if we could get a Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, I know I'm a little biased there, but if we can get him at 22, that's a playmaker. Terrion Arnold or Kool-Aid McKinstry or Nate Wiggins, get him at 22. Either of those guys I think they're all corners. So but just looking at how these great teams become great teams, it's very obvious. We are doing almost none of the things that they're doing. Also, the Commanders look like they're heading in the right direction with hiring that guy. Was Adam Peters, I think. Also, they're going hard after Ben Johnson. So stealing him from them would also be, kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But I guess the good thing is the division has like a very bleak outlook, right? Yeah. So, getting back to the playoffs and getting back to hosting playoff games should not be that hard looking ahead. I don't think the Cowboys are going to like completely Titanic fall into like a 6-7 win team, but they're very unserious, just like we are.
And they have a lot of free agents that, like you read for us, they have a lot of guys that are going to be, up for new deals.
Injuries, they have
Michael
injuries
wants
also.
A new deal. CD wants a new deal. Dak's going to want a new deal. So there's a lot. They have a lot of things. I would love to have come in here and been able to shit on the Cowboys, but I can't even do it. Like, I don't even have the heart to do it.
It's sad. Eagles and Cowboys fans, for once it seems like once in a blue moon, we're I guess like
almost in the same boat. Really,
literally are in the same boat. I had an Eagles or a Cowboys fan send me a message earlier. It's like, this is both of us, and it was like the Eagles logo and this little kid, and he like spilled some stuff, and then he spilled a little bit more, and then he threw it down or something like that. It was a very accurate depiction of our season. And then Cowboys fans are like, "Yo, this is both of us." It's like, Jesus Christ, this is the point. This is where we're at.
Yeah,
where we have to like lament with Cowboys fans because we're all on the same page. No, not loving it.
Not loving it at all. I think that's all. I guess we could. I don't even really want to talk about any of the other stuff. I don't even have. I mean, the Flyers are 1 point out of first place. Ty. They that was the one thing they at the bar last night. They had the Flyers game on the one TV, and it gave me a little bit of just happiness to see that happening. This Jamie Drysdale is pretty good. He's already got COVID, but he's pretty good.
Jesus,
it's nice to have a defenseman who's not a slow oaf like Zamula or any of those other guys, Ristolainen that we have. This guy can actually skate. He's a difference maker on the power play. He's a good player, and I think the big difference is getting a guy who can play right now, as opposed to Cutter, where we're going to have to wait, till maybe next year or
future
later
Hall of Famer,
this year. Yeah, William Gauthier. So
how about the Flyers 14-6-4 on the road?
Yeah,
road dogs. Also beating good teams.
Yeah, went up to Winnipeg and stole that game. They had no business winning that game. Minnesota, same deal, stole that game. Yep. So yeah, man, things are good for our Philadelphia Flyers. I will be curious. They're a little bit over 50 days till the trade deadline. I'll be curious to see what they do. I think they're still going to trade some of those guys that they're not going to re-sign. But I mean, I think they have a defenseman that they can now trade. Probably Sean Walker. With the addition of Jamie Drysdale, they wouldn't have the hole that would exist if he wasn't here. And then you'll see what you do from there. I don't think they're going to make any big time crazy moves, but I do think that there is the possibility to add a little bit, maybe push towards the playoffs. I mean, you have I think a 68 or 69% chance to get into the playoffs right now.
I love it. I'm here for it. I mean, Blackhawks are utter dog shit, so I'm on the Flyers train, baby.
Yeah,
Flyers and Panthers. Let's get it.
We're past the point where it's just sample size, we're
44 games in, right? More than half.
We're waiting for them to fall apart. Like it hasn't happened yet. So like, why don't we just buy in? And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's truly not the end of the world. But these Flyers are well ahead of schedule. It's good to see. Joel Embiid is back. That's good to see. He took care of business against the Rockets. They got a game against the Nuggets tonight. That's actually somewhat intriguing or fun that'll be fun to watch. The 3.5 point favorites last time I checked, so that's pretty wild. But that's the
Nuggets had a bunch of guys that were questionable. I think they're all playing.
Yeah, so I'm sure that line will change a little bit, but it'll just be good. We need Embiid healthy. That's the number one thing. It's him staying healthy and getting that chemistry with these guys, and then eventually they'll make the addition. We could talk about the Sixers, but it feels like we have the same conversation. Regular season, you have the same conversation about them over and over again. So it's truly not, it's a waste of time at a certain point. And the Phillies and baseball have done pretty much nothing. Your Dodgers got someone else, didn't they? Didn't they get Teoscar or something like that?
Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez to fill in the BRD. I mean, we lost JD Martinez, swapping out for Teoscar, who hits lefties very well. We needed a right-handed bat, but relatively cheap. And also, there's a lot of rumors and odd reporting coming out of. Make sure I get this right. I think Korea, right? Isn't that where Roki Sasaki plays in Korea? Or he doesn't play in Japan. He is Japanese, right? Just making sure I get this right. Yeah, he's Japanese in the KBO, NP. Yeah. Hold on.
Uh-oh. I have no internet, so I would help you, but my internet's been down. Thanks for the snow.
Yeah, the snow, the outages, somebody crashed into a pole.
Who knows?
A lot of just mixed reports, I guess, from Japanese outlets that some are untrustworthy, some are. I don't know how to, I'm not tuned in with the Japanese news. But Roki Sasaki prefers to play for the Dodgers, it seems like.
Yeah, what else is new?
There won't be a, I think there's a cap on how much he can get from every team, so it's not going to be about money. He's only 22 right now. I don't think he's going to pitch this year. He just had Tommy John, so we're getting him coming off Tommy John. We're going to get him for cheap. He apparently wants to play with Yamamoto and Otani, so that's good. I mean, the Dodgers are building a Japanese super team.
Yeah, literally going to be the Japanese World Baseball Classic team.
Well, listen, I mean, things weren't working before, and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going after all of them. We're getting all these motherfuckers, and I'm here for it, obviously. So I don't know if Roki's going to be able to wear number 17, so he's going to have to change numbers. But everything else on the hot stove, boy, it's not hot.
No, No, Blake Snell's still out there. Jordan Montgomery. Last report I heard was that the Phillies are not going to be in on either one. Then I had clowns telling me that the pitching rotation's fine the way it is, and I'm like, okay, well, so we're going to do exactly what we did last year and be shocked when
run it back.
They're like, God damn it, why aren't we having a bullpen game in the playoffs? Well, because you didn't want to go out and go get a starter. You didn't want to trade for one. You didn't want to sign one. You just wanted to have Christopher Sanchez out there and Taijuan Walker waving his towel in the dugout. So that's that. Really, I have no energy for any of this.
But if Blake Snell is asking, or Scott Boras is asking for 9 years, $300 million for Blake Snell,
thank you. I already said though. I don't even care what the money is. I really don't want him.
Yeah, promptly hang up and move on somewhere else. But I feel like Marcus Stroman could have been an option for the Phillies. Just somebody else. Just somebody, right? Somebody. You need to get somebody in there to kind of offset that ridiculous Taijuan Walker signing. But maybe Taijuan Walker turns back. Maybe 99 turns it back, shows up next year, makes the All-Star game. That's your number 3 starter. What do you think?
I would love that. If he's pitching better than Ranger Suarez, then we're in good shape.
I'm calling it.
Hey, that would be good. Then we probably wouldn't need to go out and get one. We would have enough. We need some bullpen, but there's a lot of shoes that need to drop before any of these signings are made. Josh Hader's still out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are just still out there that don't have teams. We need to figure out, at the top of the market, I don't think the Phillies will be, involved. But once the top of the market is set, then I think some of those other guys that are underneath of them will sign, and we'll know a number for them. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not ready to switch over to the Phillies yet. Not ready to switch over to the Sixers yet. I'm still been rooting for the Flyers, but now I'm just focused on getting Nick Sirianni out of the city. That's the main focus right now in my life.
Yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here. Listen, the Phillies aren't doing nothing. The Flyers are making noise. Sixers are making noise. Is this a Sixers or Flyers city now? What can you see? You have your finger on the pulse. What do you think?
It's neither right now. I think people are still a lot in my thought process, but a lot of people are getting onto the Flyers. I think I can feel that the Sixers are just have given people PTSD that they're just so emotionally damaged from what they've done to them. It's year after year after year. It's the same shit show.
Allegedly, Tobias Harris is back.
The guy dropped 30 in back-to-back games or something like that. He had 40 the one night against the Kings or something close to that. And then Daryl Morey, fucking clown, has to put out the crumble cookies. They think that shit's so funny. Oh my god, you guys are so funny. Yeah, go ahead and lose in the second round again. We can keep doing those ironic and hilarious posts. The people who run the Sixers Twitter account are a fucking joke. They are just the biggest clown jokesters of all time. So funny, ha ha ha, hilarious. And the problem is though, the people from Fishtown support this bullshit. That's all those Northern Liberties clowns are out there clapping and just happy to be here. We're just, as long as the guys try hard and do their best. So there's a big portion of the fan base that's probably saying that about the Eagles. That's hey man, they're still my guys. I'm still riding with number 1. I saw that I'm riding with Hurts. Fuck you, dude. Who cares? Go ahead and ride with them, bro. Get in the car. You go ride off a fucking cliff with them. I don't give a shit, man. Fucking put Sirianni in the car though. That's all I ask. So, there you go. There's my true blue thoughts. I actually like Jalen Hurts. Don't make no mistake. I just hate the people who try to be positive in these times. Fuck off. Let me be angry for a couple of angry for a couple of days. All right. I think that's enough. We'll have a UFC Vegas 84 breakdown tomorrow. We'll have a UFC 297 breakdown on sometime before the weekend, where we'll talk about Strickland DDP. That card's not really the greatest, but it's all right. But we'll shift focus, ladies and gentlemen. It won't be all negativity. It won't be thunderstorms and rain clouds all the time. We will change the momentum here.
Hopefully. I mean, today is off to a shit start after yesterday. I don't have the most optimism here. I mean, there's another car alarm going off. It's a blue Honda now, so I'm just.
Yep, and my TV and internet has been out for 3 hours now. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome for this podcast. I can't believe we actually got it in. But until next time, this is the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney.
My name is Ty Capone.
And as always, we are going to be standing on the rooftops, standing on the mountains, screaming at the top of our lungs to the clouds. Fuck Nick Sirianni. Fire Nick Sirianni.